Heyo, welcome to the QB School. Fired up for this one. All sorts of good topics, lots to dive into, lots to talk about. Have a fun little evening here as we get going, but I am fired up for this one. Let me know. Hit me with your favorite emoji. Let me know this thing sounds all right. We don't have an echo. We don't have some sort of crazy technical issue that I seem to fight through dang near every other week. But I appreciate y'all for being here, locked in, lots of Q&A. Already got a bunch locked and loaded that I'm excited to talk about. And we'll dive into it, no doubt about it. But I'm fired up for this thing. So just make sure you let me know how this thing goes. There you go. I appreciate it. With the emojis coming in hot, let me know that this thing sounds good. I appreciate y'all being here and ready to roll. Bunch of good questions. Again, you want to know how you jump to the front of the line with these Q&A. It's the memberships. Join. It's the main splash page for the YouTube channel. Hit the join button. Get the badge. Get the emojis. Hit me with the clown emoji as much as you possibly can, but that's how you jump to the front. And how we jump to the front of this one, Cam James in the house with the Cam Newton question. Where do you think Cam Newton's going to land this year? My two favorite spots, like just about everybody's two favorite spots for Cam, are the Chargers and the Patriots. Personally, I would love to see him in New England. I know that he's going to have to bite the bullet money-wise, and it's going to have to be a perfect fit, and both sides are going to have to adjust, but the Patriots, that's what they do, is adjustments. And I would love to see the Cam Newton revenge tour go through New England and make them jump again right to the front of that division and just be all sorts of different ways to be difficult and be stress on the league with an athletic, healthy, fired up, pissed off Cam Newton. And so that's what I'm rooting that he goes there. You know, I know that there are a lot of Patriots haters out there, and rightfully so. But I think, you know, personally for him, I think he should try to go to the absolute best organization possible. And what I mean by that is not the Spanoses. For anybody who knows it well, that's just my own personal take on it. But I'm sure he's gonna, if he's healthy, you know, I think people, you know, we have this tendency always, and you know, especially in sports, but really in anything, this recency bias of whatever happened most recent is what we remember. Well, Cam Newton, you know, besides for the Super Bowl performance, that year he was pretty special, and that wasn't too long ago. And so I think he's going to have the opportunity, if he's healthy and he's pissed and he lands in a good spot with an organization that has the capacity to change and mold and adapt to his skill set, because he's a legit freak when he's healthy and can run it at a ridiculous level at a short yardage goal line situation, and he can spin it well enough to win games when he has to from the pocket and make plays on his own. I'm fired up for Cam Newton to land somewhere good. I think it's good for the league. I think it's good for everybody, but you know, I think the league would be put on notice again with the Patriots if he ends up there with a situation where they believe in him and he's going in there with a system that can adapt and change and take the most of what his skill set is right now. So that's the first one. Another one, there you go, Brian. Appreciate it. Coming in hot. The other question that got put in earlier, I want to say it was from Pablo. It was essentially, you know, checking in early. I appreciate it. Hit me with like the first question of the day, so it resonates. His question was basically, never played quarterback before. You know, now he's, I think, in college. Can he play quarterback? And the answer is, you know, yes and no. You know, it's going to be really hard to do that transition, but you know, who am I to tell you that you can't do it? You know, there's obviously many situations that you can make work. I think it's going to be difficult, but they would be difficult at any level. You know, if you never played quarterback and then you go to high school, it's difficult to play quarterback. It doesn't mean you can't do it. There are plenty of people who have done it before. So don't let some, you know, dude on YouTube tell you one way or the other. So you want to go play quarterback, do everything you possibly can. Probably a good start to be here on this live stream and learn what you can. Hit me with as many questions as you possibly can, and we'll keep this thing going. All right, so as I look back over here, we got Ryan in the house, Brian in the house, bunch of different people that support the channel. I appreciate y'all being here. Let's see what we got. All right, just how it works out here. How do you play quarterback when you're short? Oh, there we go. Easy, Rockwell. Appreciate it. Thanks for being a starting QB, coming in hot with the member. I appreciate it. Big time. Help support the channel. I appreciate it. It's the only way that this thing is going to continue to grow and be what I, you know, hope it can be, and what I think the supporters want it to be, is for this thing to continue to grow and allow us to kind of explore different ways to make this thing better and better. So I appreciate you. What was the question I was going for? Oh, how do you play quarterback when you're short and can't see over the O-line? That's a tough one. I will say, well, it depends on how short. But the reality is that the game has become more horizontal. What I mean by that is wider splits by the offensive line, stretching the game both horizontally and vertically, which has allowed some shorter quarterbacks to be a little bit more successful. I think in reality, it's still easier to play the position from a better vantage point, but very rarely are you throwing through 6'5" offensive linemen. Almost everybody is creating windows to throw through lanes and things like that. But I've definitely been around a bunch of shorter quarterbacks who complain about not being able to see things, or for whatever reason they couldn't see it. And I know I got on our high school quarterback last year, who wasn't a tall guy by any means, and he would always tell me, I couldn't see it. And I get it that there is an element of that, but there's also an element of anticipation, being able to see through lanes and being able to know where those pockets are as you go forward. So I think it's very possible. I think the game is more advantageous to shorter quarterbacks now because it is such a horizontal game. What I mean by that is there are so many RPOs or RSOs where you're throwing bubbles, quickies, screens, all those things laterally that are a lot easier throws than it was back in the day when you were ripping a 20-yard dig over a 6'5" offensive tackle. Those days are pretty far and few between nowadays. All right. 251 Sports. It's an interesting name, bro. Process and IDing a blitz. I don't know. You're going to have to get more, a little bit more specific for me. There's always going to be an element of blitz or pressure recognition that a quarterback's going to have to at least have some capacity to see. The thing about it is it's not just about having this like blanket view, like, oh, they're blitzing from over here. Well, sometimes the pressure doesn't matter. What I mean by that is if the offensive line is already sliding to this person or identifying this person or going that way, well, then that pressure really doesn't mean anything. It's really when identifying when you're hot or you have some sort of backside, like what I'm used to calling a side adjust issue. So you have to know where you're blocked up, and then you have to know where you're possibly hot from. And those are the things that I think get a little bit confused for people. So it's not just saying, okay, the Mike linebacker is blitzing. Well, in many protections, the Mike linebacker is usually accounted for. So I don't care if they blitz him every play. I'm never going to throw hot off just one Mike linebacker, very rarely, depending on what the protection is. And so for me, it comes down to the same things that every play comes down to. You look at the shell, you look at potential rotation, if you're looking for just linebacker type pressures. And so when you say identifying the blitz, to me, a blitz is a defensive back type pressure. When you're saying some sort of linebacker like dog blitz or animal blitz from the linebacker types, and that's just the way that I think of it. I'm sure it's not the way you were probably asking the question. Any type of pressure in general, I'm always going to look at the shell, the safeties, if they're rotation one way or another, or are they creeping all the way down inside 10 where there's like birds on a fence? So they all look like they're at the same level, all DBs. Well, then you might get hit with 0. Otherwise, rotation. And then you look at the linebacker types, and if you see a guy obviously creeping forward, if you see him in like a sprinter stance, if you see him hedging towards you, there's all sorts of different ways that you can have dummy cadences, go on 2, those type of things to be able to give those things away. The other thing, nowadays it's just so hard to hide those type of things because most people are running spread type offenses that just spread everything out so that if you're going to pressure, you almost have to show it no matter what, or else you're going to be coming from the heavens, so to speak, where it won't matter if you're, come from 15 yards away, the ball's going to be out regardless. And so to me, the idea in the pressure thing is kind of it depends on the system you're in, and it depends on your capacity to be able to know where you're hot and where you're not. I don't have to identify every single blitz. All I have to know is when I'm hot or when I have to have a side adjust or a protection redeclaration to block up a look. So it's a little bit than what I'm used to saying, just like straight up identifying a blitz. Brad, what's going on? Let me see what you got. If you were a high school quarterback coming out right now, what college offensive system would you want to play in and why? Ooh, that is a great question. When I was coming out, I came from a pro-style high school, And I just wanted to throw it. And so that's what I was looking for. I also didn't have a whole lot of options. I think if what I was looking for is less about the offense, to be honest with you, and this is less about playing quarterback and more about the coach. It's a combination, right? Like for me, I didn't want to go somewhere where I thought the coach was going to leave. So the same person that recruits you is not the same person who graduates you, so to speak. And I wanted to look someone in the eye and say, are you going to be here in 5 years? And it's not that I wanted them to say yes, because if they said yes, I wasn't going to believe them anyway. I wanted them to be honest and say, hey, and that's what my college coach was. He was like, I can't tell you I'm going to be here in 5 years, but I can tell you that I'm going to keep you in the loop. And if a job comes up that I'm serious about, I'll let you know. I won't surprise you. I'll be honest with you. And that's all I was looking for. I was looking for someone to give me an honest answer. And so that's what I was looking for. And he did come up for a job and he told me about it and didn't take it. And I felt like I made a really great choice in that. As far as just system-wise, I don't know. This might just be me. I think a lot of people feel this way, and maybe they don't say it the same way, or I haven't heard people say it as much the same way, or maybe it's just the league influence on me. But I don't care what the system is. I want to be around the best players possible. I want to throw it to the best guys. That's why I look at, LSU and it's like those guys or Alabama, and those guys are just loaded on the perimeter. They're guys you're throwing to guys all over the place that are the round one picks. Like that is a dream. That's where I want to go. Yeah, I want to compete against the best, but I want the dudes around me to be the best. I don't want to go out there and have to feel like I'm a one-man show or jump on my back and we can win 10 games. That's hard to do. And so for me, I'm just looking where they're going to have the best players, best chance for me to be successful, and where's someone I can trust as far as whoever your decision maker is, whether it's the coordinator, position coach, head coach. Just be honest with me and let me know that you don't give me like a used car salesman feel and like I feel like I got to take a shower after you give me a recruiting conversation. So that's for me. Henry, appreciate it. Checking in. Super sucker. What was your favorite team you played for? I answered this a few different ways. I might have even answered it on here. SD Islander, appreciate it. QB Schoolers, I like it. Got to come up with a nickname or something. Favorite team I played for, just football-wise, a group of guys, was probably the Bengals 09. Was probably my favorite group to be around people-wise. Favorite city I played in was New Orleans. Favorite organization and kind of game day experience was the Packers, Lambeau. Unlike anything else. Really cool. All sorts of good stuff. What's the best fit for Jameis Cam? I don't know if there's an easy answer there. Somewhere where he's going to get a chance to at least sit behind someone who can teach him something for just a little bit, not have to go out there and put it on his back somewhere else. But, that's the problem. When you're on the bottom tier, you're not going to go to a great team. Maybe you take a step back, be a backup somewhere where you can really learn from a winning organization, and there are things that you can humble yourself to pick up that I think would do Jameis well. But, at this point, Jameis is Jameis. His decision-making is what it is. I think it would be good to go somewhere that would be really disciplined and lock in his decision-making and understand the importance of the ball. But, if you're going to go play right away, there's no good options. There really isn't. Hey, Spellman, what do you got for me? Putting off the grad school paper. There you go. I appreciate that. I've done that many times. Grad school will be there. That's the beautiful thing about grad school. People don't understand. It's quite a different experience than the undergrad world, and then it's even crazier at the doc level where it's a whole different experience. But I actually loved my grad school experiences, so got nothing bad about that. All right, hit me with some other questions. What we got here? Brock, is this the same Brock who goes crazy with the emojis that I've been missing lately? Do you think Brady would have been more successful in 2020 had he stayed in New England? Hard to say. Generally, Gus Jonesing, what are the major differences that a new rookie QB will need to work through over college ball? That's a good question. Actually, that's a good video. There's no easy answer. It's everything. Even if you know the system inside and out. You're in a different town. You got money legally. It's a totally different experience. You're in the huddle with 30-year-old men. Not that some of those guys in college aren't men, but there's a difference when you're in there with a 35-year-old, 12-year NFL All-Pro vet and some all-conference player at your high school. And it's just a different vibe. It's a different level of intensity. It's a different calendar as far as the workload. There's a rookie wall, depending on how long the season is, but all those things where it's like, it's a different experience from top to bottom. And so, I think it's easier for some of these young guys to come in and play just because the game has changed and really caught up and kind of compressed. And what I mean by that is college game is better. The pro game is a little bit more college-like as far as scheme and what they're asking the quarterback to do. It's not a lot of just straight old pro style, different reads that they're not used to doing in a more simplified college offense that might have been the case, a couple decades ago, where now a lot of people have the same information that everybody has, whether it might be a little bit more volume in the league, but even most colleges are running high volume, complicated stuff. And so it's that part of it, the learning is compressed. And so that's why I think some guys can come in there, have a little bit more immediate impact than maybe there have been in the past, where you would have a first rounder, almost like Aaron, who sits for 3 years. Could you imagine a first round quarterback now sitting for, any period of time, let alone multiple years? Just pretty rare. Jack, best way to build football IQ? That's a good question. I mean, I can think of one easy answer, but I think it's a combination of things. I think just like any of these things, that's why this stuff is not cookie cutter. It's getting a chance to watch more film. It's about being coached by someone who, there's no one way to do it, but someone who has a method and can explain why and can teach you the mechanics about, what they're trying to do at whatever position you're at. I think it's about being around good coaches. It's about being challenged. It's about seeing people do it at a really high level. And then it's about pushing yourself consistently over a long period of time to get bigger, stronger, faster, and then through that, watching film, playing, getting live reps, watching film, learning from film, watching other players do it, watching people who do it at a really high level, and then what your saturation kind of rate is as far as what you can retain and then what you can go around and turn around and perform, how quickly you can do that. So there's no easy answer. Rockwell, appreciate you signing up today. I'm bummed thinking my kids may not be allowed to play youth football this fall. Be grateful we're all healthy. You're right. I knew it was going to come up at some point over the course of this conversation, but just talking about what the future of football looks like, with this COVID epidemic going on right now. And the reality is, and I just think this is, obviously it's my opinion, but no one can give us a real answer. And anybody who says, it'll be done at the end of April, or it'll be done, June 1, or it'll take 18 months to get a vaccine. For me, it's about the same things that, and this is going to sound philosophical to a certain extent, but it's about how you deal with uncertainty and ambiguity, and realizing that there are so many things that are out of our control. Now, there are some things that are in our control, like washing your damn hands and staying home and not being a clown and going and being in large groups. But as far as what you can control versus what you can't control, as far as how this epidemic spreads and what the timeline looks like, and as we get closer and closer to the fall, as these dates get closer and build back, and then you start looking about how long it takes to prepare for a season, all those things. For me, I think football is obviously the backseat in all these conversations, especially as you start seeing more and more people individually touched by, someone being sick in their family, when someone's sick, your neighbor being sick, all these things matter. Football is at the very bottom of that kind of importance level. But at the same time, it means a lot to a lot of people. And finding that peace and being able to deal with the, uncertainty, the ambiguity of what it might look like, and really the kind of adaptive mindset that a lot of us are going to have, whether it's a condensed season, whether the preparation is condensed, whether you don't get spring ball, whether you don't get summer stuff, whether you don't get all these things that we took for granted in the past, by being able to be like maximizing whatever you can do. I'm pissed at myself for not getting a home gym when I was playing. Could have got the best stuff and wrote it off. Now I'm like searching Amazon and Craigslist for dumbbells. And I did get a set of dumbbells, Power Block, who are not sponsors of this show, but should be, because I love those things so much. My poor wife is I think she's shocked at how often I've used them already, but they are amazing. And I remember making fun of them the first time I ever saw them somewhere. I want to say it was in Europe. No offense to my international audience, but those Power Block dumbbells are amazing. And they are like toilet paper out there right now. They cannot be had. I thought they were going to be back ordered till the middle of May, and I got them, and I'm fired up, and I use those suckers every day, and I love every second of it. But not everybody's going to be able to go afford Power Block dumbbells, but it's about being able to do whatever you can do, whether it's a push-up challenge with your team, whether it's, having Zoom meetings with your team, doing workouts like that, getting creative with whatever it takes to at least control what you can control and create some sort of sanity, for your preparation if you're coming into a football season as a player or a coach. But at the same time, realizing like this is just a kind of a micro situation of many situations that will come over the course of your life where you aren't in control. For me, I don't know if it's easier, but as a player, I was in 10 years of uncertainty and volatility and ambiguity, and it was fine. And it wasn't fine, but it was just my norm. And so now to say, obviously the health concerns and all the health ramifications across the country and across the globe are scary as hell, but the ambiguity of it, the uncertainty of what, football looks like, I'm like, whatever, we'll be fine. Like, we'll adapt one way or the other. I'm not that worried about it, but I get it that for a lot of people, that's not the mindset. A lot of people don't have the experience like that. And it's a little scary realizing, if you're going to be a senior, am I not going to be able to play? All these spring sports, high schoolers, college seniors not playing, that sucks. It's terrible. I empathize with them. I couldn't imagine losing my senior season of college or high school. And so it's like, but in the same regard, it's easy for me to put it aside and say, hey, it's just sports. It's just football. Like, let's go. Brian, 7-on-7 question. Oh, let's get into that. That's a good one. I have to take it down for that. Brian Johnson, member with the turquoise, which is awesome. Changing color on me. Do you think 7-on-7 creates bad habits for younger quarterbacks? I think 7-on-7 has the ability to create bad habits for any quarterback. And what I mean by that is, I remember last year watching a bunch of high school 7-on-7, and I'll put it two ways. One, the high school team that I coach with, last year we ended at the end of the year, we weren't doing 7-on-7 at all. We tapered it down to like 5 minutes about halfway through the year. And for me, there's a bunch of different reasons about it. But one, quarterback-wise, I just didn't like, it's so not real. Like, it's just, like, I get it that it's good to see, it's good to get the throws in. It's good to get into tight windows, see rotation, see defenders. But our game was so RPO based and, that type of play action, quick fakes, that like you can't get that in 7-on-7. We're not going to drop back very often and just rip, a seam or a big post or, that's just not what we were doing. Now, not that it's not impactful for some programs or some teams. I get it that it could be, but for us, it just didn't match what we were trying to do scheme wise. We also couldn't get a good look, from the look squad. 7-on-7 over the summer, a little different. I love it for the competitive element. It's just fun to see guys compete, whether it's in underwear or, not as tough as a lot of tough guy coaches want to pretend it is. I get it. It's fun. It is fun to compete. It is. What pisses me off as someone who enjoys high-level quarterback play is when you see guys take 7 hitches You see him take a snap under center, drop back 3 steps, take 7 hitches, and rip a post 50 yards and throw it at the line of scrimmage. Like, that's not it. Like, we're not getting better. That's not getting better. Now, if you're getting it off on time and running your stuff that you will run in a game, I think that there's some value in it. But you know, how many defenses last year did I see run 2-man in a game? Seriously, that off the top of my head, 0 in our high school, in our area. I'm not saying it doesn't happen some places. Now, when we go out there and play 7-on-7, over 50% for sure will be in 2-man. It just like, I just don't understand it. And so, if you're going to do that, I get the competitive element of it. I think it's great. I think it's fun to see guys compete. I think you can get some timing with your wide receivers on the perimeter. But if we're talking about ball, like what it's really like to play quarterback from the pocket, once you get past the footwork, timing, working the routes that you would actually throw in a game, I think it has pretty diminishing returns pretty quickly. So that's my own take on it. But yes, we do it a lot. Might need another one here. Time is it? We got over 100 people checking in. Appreciate it. The other thing, and I'm not sure how many people on here are high school football coaches. I'm going to guess that not very many. So excuse my rant for 2 seconds. But there are a ridiculous amount of clinics going on right now, like online clinics. Like, I don't know how I got on all these email lists, but I've never done one before besides for like this type of setting. But, it's got to be hard to do because they are tough to watch sometimes. And I get it that there are technical issues, and I've had technical issues on this stuff before, but the struggle is real on those online clinics, and PowerPoint will make your eyes bleed. For real. All right. For those of you that were asking, let's see if it will focus. No? Oh, there it is. Orange Wit, CBC, Coronado Bruco. Ran out of those. So we're going to go Salty Crew. There it is, CBC. Hopefully this thing is cold. Yeah, Brock, I don't know if they're a micro brew. I guess. I don't know. They're like the only brew around here. All right, what else? Give me some other stuff here that we need to talk about. It's fun for me, at least, to be able to come in here and talk a little bit of ball as just kind of a step away from all the craziness going on. So hopefully y'all enjoy this stuff. But, at the same times, I know I'll say it at the end, but stay safe out there and make sure we're protecting everybody that we possibly can. What else we got here? You know what? So a handful of people that have asked me to do the rankings for the quarterbacks for the draft this year. And I don't love rankings, to begin with, but I will say that probably going to be close to the draft. I'll probably put out one. I'm telling you right now, the video coming out Friday, Nate Stanley from Iowa, never seen him play before. I don't want to, give away the main thesis for Friday, but he looked pretty good. And I haven't heard anybody mention him other than a handful of comments on this channel. But for me, it's crazy. I turned on, what is it called? PFT? Is that what it's called? Pro Football Talk? Yeah. And they had their rankings, and I want to say that they had Burrow, Herbert, Love, Tua, and Eason as the top 5. And I don't know. I must be missing something about Tua because I really like Tua. I don't know if it's just, I can't put it in to words better than the fact that when I watch him, he looks like a pro quarterback. He's accurate. He's consistent. He's smooth. He's rhythmical. Yeah, he's gotten hurt. People get hurt. People also get bigger and stronger as they get older. You know, yes, I know he played with a lot of really good players at Alabama. You know, you going to knock him for being well recruited, being a good high school player? Like, I don't understand that argument. You know, it just doesn't make sense to me. If I'm drafted in the top 5 and I need a quarterback and Burrow's gone, I'm drafting Tua. Now, maybe as I watch more film, I'll see the stuff that everyone else is knocking him for. But I honestly, like, I don't get it. And I get it that's why I'm sitting here and why those guys are in the league, you know, making those decisions. But I just don't get it. Brian, concept video. I know Long John is watching this right now. He's going to be mad at me. I was going to do one Wednesday, but I got a better video for you Wednesday. So it's going to be pushed back to next Wednesday. Concept video. Probably going to do the logo. Now, many of you probably don't refer to this concept as the logo, but you should. You should. I'm fired up for it. I've been waiting a long time to do it. It's going to be more the way that I do for verts, not necessarily in the way that it was done in the league, not the way that I think a lot of people do it nowadays with the whole 6 air raid thing. But you're still in it, bro. I see you, Long John. But yeah, they're coming next week, and then I'll probably do one every single Wednesday after that. So lots of X's and O's coming our way. I was also going to do it. Good plug here. Listen up. Probably going to do one X's and O's mini version for the Patreon community this week. Those people have a Discord community where they give me kind of suggestions that they want to see for those videos. And the Patreon, I do usually way longer format videos, and but the X's and O's videos take way longer than any other video that I do, and so I need a couple days to prep those things. And so I'll probably do one for the Patreon probably this week, unless I hop on the Discord after this and they tell me that they want more Jordan Love or something. I don't really care what we do. I do have fun with that group because they love ball. So another way to support the channel, if you don't want to do the membership and you like the long form stuff all year, the long form stuff is going to come to an end here at the end of the draft. And so it's another way to keep it going. So I appreciate the Patreon. Brian, if you're over on the Patreon, just hit me with what concept you'd like to do this week, and I'll make it happen for you. Easy. For the Patreon group, as long as they don't veto it. Michael Bishop story. I don't have a Michael Bishop story. I don't have a first person Michael Bishop story. I will tell you a Michael Bishop story that I heard in Canada. Oh man, the Peterman. That's funny. Michael Bishop story I heard in Canada. There is a field. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe we got somebody in here on who's in Canada, but I want to say it's Calgary, maybe Edmonton. One of those two places has a huge hanging scoreboard over the middle of the field, like a basketball arena in the States. Just, you don't see it in football very often. I forget if it's Edmonton or Calgary, but there was a story that Michael Bishop threw a ball from the ground and hit that thing. That thing was at least 75 yards straight up. I tried to throw it up there, and I swear to God, it didn't get halfway. And someone, every time that they talked about that field or that stadium, we saw it on film, Michael Bishop hit that scoreboard. I always remember being like, unless he was in a helicopter and he dropped that thing from the helicopter, there's no way someone hit that scoreboard. It was unbelievable. But the stories about Michael Bishop and his arm, man, they're hilarious, and I get a kick out of it. I definitely remember watching him play, but I love the fact that he hit the damn scoreboard. I was like, get out of here. The Coach Dre. Are you the Coach Dre from SD Dre, or are you different Coach Dre? Let me know. Why does the Tua can't pass in duress thing is hilarious to me. This because he's at Alabama and he has better time than most people? I mean, what about, who can pass during duress? who possibly understands, like, I don't understand. If you're under duress, most people can't pass. Other than scrambling and go making a play outside the pocket, which a handful of guys can do. But even those guys don't do it consistently, as consistent as probably people think. So knocking someone for not being able to pass under distress, yeah, I mean, get in line. No one can pass under distress. You got to come with a little bit stronger than that for me. Bro can do anything. All right, what else we got here? Do you think... Oh, Captain, my captain. Oh, that was a good one. Who do you think... Oh, Pablo, I already got you, bro. I will tell you that a handful of people now, and Pablo, I see it right here. Who do you think will be the surprise QB of the draft? Honestly, for me, the surprise QB of the draft is going to be Tua. I know that that's like a thing that is difficult to understand with a guy who might get picked 5th, but people were tanking for Tua this time last year, and now he's slipping to Pro Football Talk's 4th quarterback. I just, I got to be missing something. Alfred, a gay story. I was thinking about this gay story. Okay, this will be a good one. Brad, I saw you with the best play callers. I should get to that. I want to get play caller wise. I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of the sexy thing is always to say, like, the young guy do this. If I could, I guess, how about this if I could play for one play caller, who would I want to play for? It would have to be Sean Payton for me. I just think he's done it the longest, and I've always felt like he's always been on the cutting edge. I know that there are some guys who look like they're on the path to being that type of play caller. The Sean McVays, the Shanahans. I'm sure there's a bunch of other guys that do it at a really high level. But as far as the consistency, where I know I could go in and he's got a system and he's been doing it at a really high level, I mean, Sean Payton, I feel like is the bar offensively right now. And so, Gaze. So back to the Adam Gaze story. So Adam will kill me. I'm sure there's no way he's watching this, but someone will probably text him. So when you watch film, and most people who probably do this watch film on some sense or another, in between plays, they cut to a scoreboard. And stop me if I've told the story about this, because I don't think I have. So I'm looking in the comments as I tell the story, if I've told the story about Adam Gaze and the scoreboard watching before. So Adam Gaze is our quarterback coach. I'm in Detroit. Early in the season, I don't know, week early, whatever. Go to Philadelphia, and we get boat race out of there. Just smacked silly. Sucked. Terrible. In fact, I think that's any team I was ever on got crushed by the Eagles. But this team especially got crushed by the Eagles. And so I don't think he won't care that I tell the story. I went in and watched film, whatever, the next day or Tuesday, whatever, watched the game again. And and people who watch this channel know that I like to, especially later in the game, I'll watch the people around the scoreboard, or things in the background, or people on the sideline. I just get a kick out of that. I like to do it. And so during the scoreboard, so after the game, we get boat raced. After the game, Adam comes out, and we must have been in the front first bus or something together, and he's out there talking to a girl. And on the road, talking to a girl in the family section afterwards. It's just it's got to be somebody. It can't just be somebody you met last night at the hotel bar. And so he jumps on the bus after getting boat raced, and he's got this big ass smile on his face. I'm like, who's that? I'm like, what's up, man? What do you got? What's going on? What you working? And he's like, like it tells me that whatever met her. I don't even remember how they met, wedding or something. And I'm like, I'm like, and it was his now wife, but it's Joe Vitt's daughter, who Joe Vitt was a longtime coach in the league. And he still might be coaching for all I know. But so this is like right when they first met, like maybe the second time they'd ever seen each other. She must have been in Philly or something, and they met up. And so I'm like, but she was like wearing something distinctive. I don't even remember what it was, like a black tank top or something, or black shirt, lion shirt or something. Something like not Philadelphia Eagle fan that I would notice. And so I'm watching the film, and right away, boom, Philadelphia. There's like their scoreboard that they show in between cut-ups has like a bunch of rows around it. And I see immediately, there's Jen. Like first quarter, she's right there with her friend, 2 people. And they're sitting by themselves, like under the scoreboard. And so it's a blowout, right? So by the time that the game is over, there's nobody there. But you can see their whole game day experience. So they're sitting there cheering early. Then you see him get up and come back with a beer. Then you see him get up, come back with another beer. Nobody around him, just 2 girls sitting underneath the scoreboard. Then you see like a bunch of random dudes come in and try to like make their move, leave. Then you see him go get another beer. Then you see more dudes come in, try to talk to him, leave. Then you see go get another beer, come back. More dudes come talk to him, nothing, leave. And so the whole time I'm like, this is amazing. And so then I pull Adam in when he come to our meeting. I'm like, Adam. And, he's like in the dumpster. He's crazy, whatever. Coaches like they suffer with losses. I feel like worse than the players. And so he's all down in the dumps. I'm like, hey, you watched the film? Yeah, fucking course I watched the film. Oh, yeah, of course. It's terrible. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, have you really watched the film? And immediately, like, he knows something up. He's like, what? I'm like, where were the family seats this game? He's like, I don't know, nosebleeds. I'm like, yeah, right under the scoreboard, bro. Your girl is sitting there the entire time. You can see all these dudes talking to her. And he is just, like, red as hell. And just immediately like, what? Like, goes and sees and watches all these guys try to hit on his soon-to-be wife at some point. So that's my favorite Adam Gay story. Adam's a great dude. I got a bunch of good stories on Adam, but that was always the one that I was like, oh my God, what are the chances, bro? The one girl in the entire stadium is sitting by herself and her friend right under the scoreboard, and we get to watch their whole experience on the film. So pretty awesome. See, you guys come here for the X's and O's, and you get Scoreboard love stories. All right, maybe a few more questions. Getting that close to that time where I start losing my voice. Appreciate y'all hanging out. Sean Payton, Islander, not Peyton Manning. He never called plays, did he? Although it would be nice for Peyton Manning to be a play caller. I'd take that too. All right. You know what? I need a few. See if I can hit me with these. Give the people what they want as far as what my brother would say. All right, handful more questions. 155. That might be the most we've ever had on here. Need more Adam Gay stories. Poor Adam. What was my best route to throw? Alfredo, you're coming in with some good questions tonight. My favorite route to throw, I don't know. You'd have to ask my coach if it was my best route to throw. My best route to throw is probably a check down. My favorite route to throw was a deep in. In the league, it's 20 yards, under center, 7-step drop, 1 hitch, let that sucker go, 2 yards inside the numbers. It's like a handoff. I love doing it with our high school team now. We run at different depth, but we do the same landmarks. And I think my other quarterbacks get pissed. They don't realize I've been doing it for 25 years. But it's a lot of fun. It's just like a little smooth 7-iron thing. Just not like a drive throw was never my thing. It was always more just like a little up and over, put it right over a linebacker's hands. Just Nothing better than that. I rip it. Free access. If you give me free access, meaning there's no corners going to touch the wide receiver and he can just run 20 yards and turn in speed cut, it's like a handoff. It's awesome. All good. Ryan. Well, that fade to Calvin for a touchdown. I don't actually know if it was thrown very well. Anything thrown up on a jump ball for Calvin is probably a good throw. That wasn't a very hard of a read. Say that. Dave Polk. That's a good question. Do you have a preference on facing either a 3-4 or 4-3-D? I will tell you that when I started in the league, I really, 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 really disliked playing against a 3-4. And I'll tell you the main reason why. And it's going to sound stupid and simple, but it's the honest truth. It's when that other guy, that extra linebacker standing up, it jacked with my spacing and like my pattern recognition. I couldn't, even though almost always they're bringing 4, it just felt like I was playing like Canadian football. It felt like they had more guys on the field, and I didn't like it. Now as a coach, and as a player, as I played later, it didn't bother me. I don't care. You see that stuff in sub all the time. You get to the point where you didn't. But I remember the first couple times seeing it, like in the preseason game early in the league, I was like, I hate that. And I didn't like it in college because we didn't have sound answers protection-wise. But in the league, you have sound answers. You just need to get used to seeing it, especially when you're playing. And the other reason I started to get comfortable with it is because I'd play 4 teams that ran the 3-4, so you see it every day in practice, and then you're like, whatever, it doesn't mean anything. Nico, appreciate the super sticker. How about that profile photo? Do you think the Saints will draft a QB this draft? Well, it doesn't sound like it. They love that Taysom Hill dude. I don't know. This is going to I'm sure going to offend some people who love the New Orleans Saints, but maybe they see something that I don't see, but I don't know. I don't necessarily see him as a future franchise quarterback. Most future franchise quarterbacks are not the third string guy for multiple years. I get it that like if anybody could make it work, it'd be Sean Payton, but and that system and that, if they keep those guys on the perimeter, but it's there's a reason why there's only like 10 in the league. See, there you go. People already coming at me with the Taysom Hill stuff. All right, we'll wrap this sucker up. I appreciate the support. Again, another quick plug. You're not a member. Please become a member. Hop over there right now. Join the main page for the YouTube channel, for the QB School channel. Easy to do. Sign up. Really affordable month. Get good stuff. Get the badge. Make sure it jumps to the front of the line in these live streams. I don't, just because I say it every video doesn't mean it's not true. If I see a badge, I'm almost always answer the question. Make sure I get back to you. Fun way to support the channel. I appreciate it. Then you want to go crazy, get over to the Patreon community. In-depth stuff all year round, different level access, more in-depth, nuanced, granular stuff over there. Again, I really appreciate the support, y'all. Kentucky Wrong, what do you got? What will be the next offense that replaces the spread, if any? I don't know, man. If I knew, I would do it. Spellman, Brian, appreciate it. Thank you for the support, y'all. Thanks for checking in, having a good night. Y'all stay safe. Take care of each other. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family, your neighborhood, your community. Don't let people go out. And I appreciate it. Y'all, see you next week, Monday.